Hello guys, it's Sean. So today we're doing another Beyblade discussion. This time we have a news discussion of sorts. So we got a lot to talk about here. Of course, UX has just been announced. Well, I say just been announced, but yeah, we have the full product lineup for March. Before we get to the actual UX stuff, though, there is some other stuff to talk about. So first up, let's just get into this. I don't always cover these, but this is a BX00 release. And that is, of course, Shark Edge 560 gear flat. So interesting. This was leaked a while ago. I don't know if it was official or not, but it is. So yeah, really cool looking Shark Edge blade here. I like the color on it a lot. 560 ratchet, nice, and gear flat. Why not? Just a cool re-release. This is apparently a B4 store exclusive. I think this is probably going to be like a WBBA store exclusive thing. So probably like a normal booster price. If you order it, probably won't be too much more expensive than normal, hopefully. And if that's the case, I will probably pick this one up, but yeah. I don't usually mention these types of things as much, however, I mean, if it pairs with other news, I might as well, right? It's not worth making a whole video on something like this, though, but yeah. Just a cool thing to mention. Okay, moving on to the actual news. So first up, BX28, a white string launcher. So another string launcher release on its own if you wanted a white one instead of a black one or whatever else, or just another string launcher in general. Here you go, it shouldn't be too much different. I believe this is our 4th version, not counting like the prize versions, but yeah. So now we have red, blue, black, and white. So just another string launcher, pretty nice. We also have BX29, a custom grip. This one is in white with some blue highlights and stuff. Pretty cool looking. Also, one thing to know about these new custom grips is that they have 2 extra plastic pieces on the sides of them, which make the grip a bit more ergonomic apparently. Also, BX30, another custom grip. This one is red with some black highlights, so similar idea. These kind of remind me of like Drawn Sword and Hell Scythe a little bit, or I guess more so Drawn Dagger and Hell's Chain with like the color schemes. Maybe that's just me, but anyway. That's just like the vibe I get from them, so yeah. Let's move on to the actual new stuff that people want to know about. UX. Alright. First up, UX01 DranBuster 160 XL. Where have I started this thing? Okay, we'll just go blade to bit, I guess. That'll just be how we do it for this video, but yeah. The DranBuster blade. So there are some things to know about UX that are they're a bit different. So the gear chip, from what I know, does not spin anymore, which is an interesting change. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it's fine. Like, honestly, aligning them is already a little bit annoying, to be honest, so I'm not too upset about that, but a little bit weird they took away that function, I guess. Also, the gear chip cover, the little plastic piece, like the transparent plastic piece that's over the gear chip, no longer there. If you put a sticker on top of this thing, it should be a little bit easier to deal with now, but, well, it might get scratched up, which is kind of unfortunate, so don't think I like this change very much, honestly. I don't like the gear chip changes in general, I really don't. Also, the prongs in the middle, the 3 prongs that kind of go towards the gear chip, are now plastic rather than metal. I guess that could be fine for weight distribution, but at the same time, I don't know how to feel about it. Also, apparently UX stands for unique. So, BX would be basic X, and UX is unique X. So these are meant to be more dynamic bays. I'll talk about that later in the video, but for now, that's the whole idea behind it. But yeah. DranBuster, though, on the blade, you can definitely tell that this thing is a bit more unique. It has almost like an Excalibur-like design. It has kind of meant to be like a one big hit type of bay, you know, it's meant to knock out or potentially burst your opponent with one big hit, rather than continuous attacks, right? Pretty cool looking. I do like how this thing looks actually quite a bit. It is very, very nice, so cool blade, for sure. Also, the ratchet is 160. The contact point of this thing kind of sticks out further. I don't know if that'll be a burst risk or not, but regardless, it does pair up nicely with the blade, so that is cool. Do like what they did with 160 here. Also, the bit is Excel. So, Excel is a weird one. The bit itself, it's like a flat, except it's wider than normal, a little bit wider. Pretty similar otherwise, so nothing too crazy, but the actual main thing is a actual gear part on it. Normally, these gear parts have like 12 spokes on them, which they used, for the extreme line. Rush had 10. This one has 16. That should make it significantly faster than most other bays by quite a bit. So Excel should be very, very fast. I will just say, prediction time. I could already see a drama-based video, I don't know what they title it, but just like something about a wear issue, I already assume that Excel is going to cause wear problems, either on the bit or the stadium or both, with how fast this thing goes. Can definitely see some people complaining about wear issues from this thing, so I do think there's a decent chance it will cause them. So be mindful of that. This is obviously just a theory of mine. It's not, there's no evidence behind it other than just the potential of, that much speed causing that issue. But yeah, just be mindful that I do think that is a possibility. So again, if people are making videos about wear issues and are being dramatic about it, that is potentially why. Anyway. Also worth noting, this thing comes with a light launcher, or ripcord launcher, whatever we're going to call it. It is black, except there is the ripcord, which is blue. So yeah, the launcher being in black is pretty normal. But yeah, the blue ripcord, so it does have its own unique ripcord color, which is pretty nice. Anyway. Moving on to the next bay, next starter, UX02, HellsHammer 370 Hexa. So HellsHammer, 3-sided, looks pretty nice, kind of awkward a little bit, I don't know how to feel about it, but it's cool enough, I would say. The main thing about this is it kind of has like this almost screw-like pattern. What I mean by that is a screw from Metal Fight, Screw Capricorn, the screw metal wheel. Had this kind of weird, almost distorted-like shape to it, and seems to be on here as well, so we'll see how that goes. So it should have an interesting attack pattern. Moving on to 370, so it is another 3-sided ratchet, but this time we have a new height of 70. I have been complaining about heights for a long time. I've been saying we need a third height. When's it going to happen? It's happening. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the average, not average, but like kind of the basic height you could do, like kind of the most expected thing, which is 70. Go between 60 and 80, it makes sense. It's new though, so I will take it regardless. I'm glad we're finally getting a new height, so still a big win regardless. We're finally moving away from just 60 and 80, so good. What's not as good though is the bit, Hexa. This thing has like these 6 lines on the bottom that come to like a point, and it's supposed to, I don't actually care what it's supposed to do. This is just terrible. This is very reminiscent of something like Edge. It doesn't seem as bad as Edge, but also has like the same kind of idea, to where it's like a line's coming to a point. Why did they think this was a good plan? What's also bad is that this doesn't even make sense for Hells at all. It really doesn't. We had taper and high taper on the other two. This one getting a bit like this, it doesn't make any sense. Also, I personally feel like the actual blade here is much more attack oriented than the other two Hells bays, at least from what I can see here. Why would you go with a bit like this? It almost seems more stamina oriented. That'd make way more sense for Hell Scythe, or maybe even Hell's Chain. I really don't like this choice here at all. I think Hexa was a terrible part to put on this, and it's kind of not looking like a good part in general, in my opinion. Moving on to UX03, which is WizardRod 570 Disc Ball. So, WizardRod, the blade. This, honestly, aside from the typical UX changes that we're seeing here, kind of interesting. It's just like a 5-sided stamina type bay that, if without the UX changes, would just feel like a very bland BX bay, in my opinion. Nothing here strikes me as crazy or cool or whatever. It's just a very bland bay. Also, WizardRod, like, come on, that's kind of an L of a name. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine and all. It's just that I don't... Nothing here screams, UX, like, interesting or whatever. Like, the other two are more unique. This one, again, it just feels like a BX bay with the UX style to it. We have new ratchet here with 570. So there you go. That's cool. I mean, again, nothing fully new here. You got the contact points and the height, which have already been used at this point, but again, it is a new ratchet nonetheless. So, cool. Moving along here, we have Disc Ball. So Disc Ball is looking like a very, very weird bit. It's kind of like ball, looks a little bit different, almost like cone-shaped a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of awkward, but it is what it is. We'll see how it performs. But more importantly, there's a disc around it, so that should help with stamina. Hopefully it stays up a little bit better. That's fine. Could help with some life after death. But more importantly, I feel like this may interfere with the extreme line, so we might have a bay that cannot properly use the extreme line, which I think is good. It's just kind of an interesting thing to note, though. So there you go, that's kind of the main UX stuff. We also do have the UX04, the Battle Entry Set U. So this is another Battle Entry Set. This time we have 2 bays, 2 launchers, and a stadium. So as far as the launchers go, there is kind of a black and white one here. Kind of reminds me of like the Unclaw launcher. Which that's exactly what it reminds me of, but yeah. Also looks like a black ripcord, and then we have a fully, just kind of a regular black launcher with a kind of goldish or yellowish ripcord. Also very slight recolors of DranBuster and WizardRod. Kind of interesting that they chose WizardRod here. I thought they would have done DranBuster and HellsHammer, but I guess, you know, the entries that we got back in October, we did see, you know, recolors of Drawn Sword and Wizard Arrow, so I guess that makes some sense. Also, the stadium does seem to be white, from what I could tell. Unless it's meant to just be transparent, but I think that's white. At least from the image I'm looking at. But the extreme line is orange, which I do like orange and white, so will I get this? Probably not, but I am tempted, so maybe I pick it up in the future. We'll see. But yeah, this is another stadium set, which I don't really care for. We already have 2 of them at this point. We're not even a year into X. I know Burst is like the same type of thing, but still, it just feels a little bit unnecessary in my opinion, so it is what it is, but I also don't care, so there you go. That is all of the Beyblade news for today. That's UX. I don't know how I feel about UX. I feel like it wasn't different enough to really warrant a new name. I will collect my thoughts on that and talk about it in maybe a week or so, and I will make a whole video about whether or not I think UX is actually worthwhile. But yeah, that's everything. Also, just for the sake of release dates and stuff, because I did not mention the release dates. The Shark Edge is coming out first, that's why I started with it. That's coming out March 23rd. All of the UX stuff, and also like the launcher grip and or launcher grips and the string launcher, that all comes out March 30th, except for the actual stadium set. The entry set apparently is not coming out till April 27th for some reason, so yeah, anyway. So there you go. That's all the UX stuff. Overall, I think DranBuster's very cool. I think HellsHammer was kind of a mess. It almost feels like a throw together to me, but it obviously wasn't. Like, I don't imagine they threw together a Hell's Bay. What happened with Hexa, though? I really don't understand that. That was a really dumb move, but, and yeah, WizardRod, I mean, it exists. Disc Ball is kind of cool, but aside from that, this just feels very, very much like a BX Bay, just with the UX style. Speaking of the UX style, I don't really like it that much. The plastic prongs over the metal prongs, I think, is kind of whatever. I think it works on DranBuster, actually. I think that it looks different enough with how they did them. But for HellsHammer and WizardRod, it just looks worse, I think, at least personally. You also have like this kind of different colored ring now, to kind of match with these new prongs, so don't know if I like that very much. Also, the gear chip is apparently no longer removable and doesn't have the cover anymore, which I don't like these changes very much. At least not entirely, so yeah, and I guess aside from that, again, like the things being more dynamic, Ratchet's, I guess 160 is kind of more dynamic, but the other two, they're just 70 heights, so it's like whatever. I guess the bits look a little bit more dynamic, but again, with something like Hexa, I'm not sure it's a good thing, but Excel and Disc Ball are looking really cool, and yeah, the blades, I already talked about the blades enough, I think, so UX kind of weird. We'll see what happens. For now, I'd say I'm optimistic, and I think that these bays overall will probably be better. But I also just wish that they maybe start with this. Like, why not start with something like this? Maybe make the bays a little bit more dynamic from the start. Because it's not like these bays are insane or anything. They're just like a little bit cooler, I would say, overall. So, wish we maybe would have started with bays like this, just to kind of make X a little bit more interesting. I don't know. That's just me, though. But yeah. Yeah, let me know what you think about the news and whatnot. I will make a video in about a week or so, probably talking about UX as a whole and what I think about it. Is it good or not? Was it a good idea? And whatever else. So yeah, anyway, that's all for this video, though. I am just rambling at this point, so yeah, anyways. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.